All right, here we are. I just got finished doing my Move On Monday over on my public page on Facebook, The Mojo. You have got to check it out. So, what I want to share here though is because you can go over at NB McCready to my public page on Facebook and you can check out What's Your Mojo, which is about Moses was outside the system and spoke to power, and Joseph was inside the system and spoke to power. We need the mojo principle to be working right now. No cookie cutter Christianity. We need to be who we are, and God has gone through a lot of trouble. Are y'all with me? Are you listening to me? God has gone to an awful lot of trouble to form and fashion weapons, weapons, instruments of righteousness for such a time as this. Don't dull your blade. Listen to me carefully. Do not dull your blade in the very moment that God has brought you to, sharpened you, done everything necessary to get you ready, and then you back up into an atmosphere of your former bondage and decide you don't want to hurt anybody, you don't want to be misunderstood. You can't fulfill your assignment, my friends, without being misunderstood and without there being loss. I'm just going to tell you. But oh, the gain for him. If all of this is about your, personal gain, but the gain for him, to win for him. So I just have some things that I want to share. So if you want to share this with other people right now, if you want to, I don't even know exactly how Instagram does all that. I'm used to using Facebook language. But anyway, I'm going to share this and we're going to do it. So I want you to understand that we are in such a multi-dimensional, multifaceted, multi-generational moment. And I tell you, part of what we need is we need the wisdom of the old, we need the resources of those in the middle, and we need the zeal of the young. All right, let me say that again. We need the wisdom of the old, the resources of those in the middle, and we need the zeal of the young. We need everybody bringing their contribution to the table, their God-ordained assignment. Do not shrink back in this hour. Do not shrink back. Years ago, in about 2002, God told me in the years to come, there would be three major temptations that would come against the sons of God. The first one would be to trust in man's goodness, your own, and to trust it in others. I highly recommend you don't do that. The second temptation was going to be to stand alone, to be someone who's unwilling to go into the ground so you can become a producer. And the third one was that there was going to be this massive, panic-inducing, shrinking back spirit that comes to get you to shrink away from God and what it means to go forward in fearless confidence. Now, we want to be those who don't trust in the goodness of man. We trust in the goodness of God. And nothing can confuse us, and nothing makes us wonder if God's for us or against us. We know that God is for us. We want to be those who know that we're alive, but we refuse to stand alone. And we are willing to go into the ground and die so that we can produce the harvest that he's put within us, produce the whole life, the whole measure of all that he has put within, because we haven't seen anything yet, my friends. All this has been preparation up until this time. And then we definitely want to be those who step forward in fearless confidence so that God can take great pleasure in us. Now listen carefully, that's not a performance issue. I didn't say that you needed to be all bowed up and full of human tenacity so that God would love you, okay? What I'm telling you is, God says, don't shrink away from your oneness with me. Don't shrink away from your abiding with me, because then I can't enjoy you. You see, his enjoyment and his pleasure comes as you abide, not as you perform. My friends, he loved you when you were yet a sinner. I guarantee you he loves you, but he wants to enjoy you. And when you abide, you stay with him and he leads. And where he leads can be quite interesting at times. And so there's going to be times where you come up to something as God is leading and you're like, whoa, I didn't know it was going to require this. I didn't know this was going to be in the travel brochure. And so you have that moment. You'll have many moments where you have to make a decision of fresh loyalty to God in the fresh move of God. Fresh loyalty has to come. So don't be condemned if you're kind of in a holding pattern right now trying to decide if you're really going, because that's necessary. But I'm going to encourage you, make the decision and let's get going. Let's decide. Fresh loyalty is coming up from the fresh life, the eternal life of Christ within us. Don't reach over for some stale human loyalty to God. Don't do it. Take hold of the fresh loyalty of Christ within you, since you share in his loyalty, his life, and his courage. So we want to be those who trust in the goodness of God. We're into the deep conviction of how good God is. We're not confused about his character in any way, shape, or form. Why? Because of his dealings with us. I could go on and on and on how I know God is good, because I see how God treated me, because I know what God has done in me, his attitude towards me. Okay? So you learn from deep personal experience with him. And of course, let's be those that decide we're going to be producers. And I'm still working on the new online school that I'm getting ready to open called The Producer's Way, because we're about to produce. And then we want to be those in these days that we are stepping forward in fearless confidence. Fearless confidence, Hebrews 10. We are not of those who shrink back, who step away from oneness with him. We want him to find deep pleasure in us and to be able to enjoy our company, which means we stay with him. Maybe you've heard this statement before. I've heard it many times in movies and when different people in the president's cabinet or whatever in our government here in the United States, they'll say, I serve at the pleasure of the president. What that means is he hired me and he can fire me at any time. All right. But here's what I'm saying to you. We serve, we live at the pleasure of our Father. Whatever it is he decides to do with me, with us, is okay. So in the context of all of that, I want to share a dream that I had. And I've never done this, I don't think. I might be lying, but I hope not. Okay. I don't think I've ever publicly on a social media platform shared a dream that I've had, but I had this back on September 12th while I was in my second time into Poland since August, and I've got my tickets and I'm ready because I see some of you on here from Poland that I will be flying out with my husband on November 20th to come into Poland. We're praying for continued favor for the assignment. And if you're listening to this and you're in Poland, then check out the follow-up conference, November 27th through the 29th. I'll be one of the speakers with Reinhard Hertler and Fabian and others. So check all that out. It will be good. And But when I was at the School of the 70, I had a dream, and I don't normally have that. I don't normally then tell it, but I did, and it's been coming back stronger and stronger in these days. So here's what was happening in the dream, and I just want you to remember this word, miraculous. Remember this word, miraculous. Now, I don't know enough about doing lives on Instagram, but if you can share this and get others to come on while it's live, please do that. If that's not an option, then don't do that, okay? So I want to share this because I believe the hunt for real leaders is on. The hunt for real leaders is on, and it matters what we're doing and what we're engaged with and how we're functioning in this day and time. So I had this dream. It was on September the 12th, and it was very vivid, even though there are a couple of points of it that the transitions, you know how dreams can be sometimes, and the transitions within it were a little unusual. But anyway, I was standing in a kind of like a small town, in kind of the square of the town, the city center of the town, and this car backed up towards me. So I was standing on the curb, and this car was backing in, not pulling in forward, but backing in. And they weren't stopping, and they were about to hit me. So I tapped the trunk of their car. Hey, I'm here. And then almost immediately, I got worried. Like, oh, I wouldn't want them to misunderstand me. I wouldn't want them to, think me rude or anything like that. So I said, oh, I need to go around to the side of the car and speak to the driver and say, oh, please know that I was just trying to blah, So do you understand what I'm saying? See, I know this because this would be my former atmosphere of people-pleasing bondage. Okay? I was sharp. I was clear. Hey, don't back into me. Okay? And then immediately what came on me was that I needed to go and explain myself, and I needed to go and I could feel it inside the dream. I could feel this thing coming on me. So, hey, Heather. Hey, Magda. Hey, you guys. Good to see you. All right. So, yeah, let me see some hearts and emojis, And this is a clue to you. Don't stop doing what you are called to do, even if there's only 3 magnificent people watching. Okay, so here we go. All right, so I go around to the side, and I'm all in this people-pleasing schmoozing is what I call it. Schmoozing the person. Thank you for those hearts. All right. Hey, great to see you guys. So I'm schmoozing. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? This car almost backed into me in this dream. I tap on its trunk and I say, hey, don't back into me. And almost immediately, the atmosphere of my previous bondage of people-pleasing came over me. I go around to the side of the car and I notice they're kind of unusual looking people, but I'm schmoozing like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't really mean that, and I wouldn't want you to misunderstand me. Okay? And in the dream, I'm thinking, what are you doing, girl? So I'm schmoozing. That's what I'm doing. And they're kind of stone-faced looking. They're oddly dressed. I mean, it was just odd. Okay? Hey, you guys that are hopping on, thank you so much. All right? And again, does Instagram have the ability for you to share this while it's live? If it does, please share it. So I start to walk away from the car towards this sports center, towards where there are all these athletes and people in training and preparation and all of that. And so I've left this car with these unusual people in it, and I'm moving towards the sports center. And the closer I get, I start noticing people starting to come out of the forest, out of the trees. And all of a sudden I realize the guys that had almost ran into me, these were lookouts, and the guys coming out of the forest were armed, and they were coming to attack the sports center where people were preparing and training and getting ready. And all of a sudden, man, I'm like, whoa, I've got to alert the leaders inside. Now I've got to go in, I've got to be calm, because you don't want to panic everybody. So I've got to be calm. But I've got to find those leaders. Listen to me carefully, my friends. I'm on the hunt for real leaders. We're on the hunt for real leaders. So as I go into kind of this tunnel, if you've ever been into a sports center or anything like that, there's kind of this little tunnel you have to walk through, usually to get into the locker rooms where all the athletes are, and there's all kinds of training and icing up and all these things going on. Well, while I'm in that little tunnel, okay, now I'm taking a chance sharing this, but I'm going to share it, okay? Tell you, I'm going into this little tunnel by myself, and I'm just about to reach for the single door that goes in, okay, to the belly of the gym, of the preparation, of the training center. And all of a sudden, one of these guys that's armed is in that tunnel with me, and it's just me and him. I reach for my weapon. I reach for my gun to go and shoot him, and the gun starts acting all weird, okay? And he's shooting at me, and I'm trying to shoot at him. Neither of us is hitting each other, and then all of a sudden, I get my aim on, and boom, okay? I didn't get my game on. I got my aim on, and boom, I shot, and I killed the guy. And as soon as I knew that he fell, I got inside that door, and I locked it. And although I'm trying to act like I'm not panicked, I am feverishly looking for, where are the leaders? I must warn the leaders. I must find those who have the authority to begin to move people to safety and do what they need to do. Okay, so inwardly, how many of you know I'm going about 95 miles an hour inwardly, and on the outside, I'm trying to look like a calm chica. Okay, I'm trying to look calm. I'm walking through, and I'm asking. I was like, this was an assistant coach. I mean, there was these people, but I couldn't find the core leaders that I needed to. Then the next thing I know, I am running outside of the center. I am running for my life. And all of these demonic hordes, that's all I can tell you that they were. These demonic hordes that I had previously thought were people, but they weren't. These were principalities and powers, and they were chasing me. And I knew without a shadow of a doubt, I am about to die. And I am running as hard as I can. I'm looking back and I'm running, okay? And I'm thinking any minute, and I could almost feel myself flexing my back, because any minute now those shots are going to come and I'm going down. And all of a sudden, I turn like I'm running, but I'm stretching out my hands towards them. How many of you know you got to pull out your little charismatic stuff? You know what I'm saying? Pull it up. I'm stretching my hand out towards them, and all of a sudden, all I yell is, "Miraculous." Now, I know this is probably backwards, but I don't see how I can make it not. But anyway, all I did was yell, "Miraculous!" And boom, everything stopped. Everything stopped. Those demonic hordes, literally, they didn't disappear. Literally, their hands just went down to their side. They were the ones that needed, to cease and desist. They were the ones that needed to stop their pursuit. And here's what happened. I did not see the angelic host of heaven, but I know that that is what happened. When I stretched my hands out to them, I said, "Miraculous!" It was boom. They saw something they needed to see. All right? And when they did, they knew. It was like boom, and their guns went down to their side. They were like, "Forget it. It's over." Turned around, walked off. Now remember, they weren't destroyed in the sense that they didn't exist any longer. What happened was they could not carry out their plans. And I am shouting today, miraculous. I am shouting today. And I'm on the hunt for leaders. I am on the hunt for those who understand that when you tap on something and say, "Hey, you can't keep moving in here. Hey, you're about to hit me. You need to stop." Don't immediately get afraid, shrink back, and go into schmoozing. Now, schmoozing, this is a deep Greek word. I'm just kidding, okay? But listen to me. I knew it when I was in it. And I think this was one of the major things that bothered me in the dream was, hey, why am I trying to convince these people that I'm awesome and wonderful? Now, why would that be important? Why do I need to make sure that they don't misunderstand me? They didn't misunderstand me. They knew exactly who I was. All right? And I don't think that's all about me. Okay? Remember, the hunt for real leaders. The hunt for real leaders. I was looking. Who can I tell? Who can I warn? Who has the authority to really begin to rise up? Now, after everything was over, and I cried out miraculous, when I tell you they stopped, I'm talking boom. I was like, wow. The next thing I know, I'm kind of back in that gymnasium training center area, sports center, working out, your salvation center, okay? And they're like, hey, Nancy, how you doing? I'm like, fine. Yeah, how was your day? I said, how was my day? And I start like, well, you're not going to believe I'll be able to. And then they just looked at me like, okay. And later I realized, well, that really was for me. That was something that was for me. It wasn't just that everybody else needed to know about it. It was for me. But today I felt that I could share it because I'm on the hunt for leaders. I'm on the hunt for those who are the real deal. I'm on the hunt for those who might be nameless, faceless people, but who are willing to be a part, okay, of really leading out, really letting God get you ready. And we need this word, miraculous. You need it. You need to stretch your hands out towards that which would oppose, that which would frustrate and want to kill, steal, and destroy. And I want to encourage you today, shout, miraculous. And I am saying to you that there is a miraculous provision in this moment and in this time. Leaders are going to be covered. Leaders are going to be found. There are going to be people whose lives are going to be able to go on, and they're not going to even maybe know exactly what was averted and what was handled in the spirit realm, because they're just going along their business. And they should not be condemned for that. And we're not trying to shame anybody. It's like, this is a part of my assignment. So I am on the hunt for leaders. I am shouting miraculous to the hordes of hell that would think that they can just do whatever they want. But listen to me carefully, my friends. Sometimes they can do what we allow. And so even sometimes we need to be reminded of who we really are and the authority that Christ has shared with us. He's the one who won the victory. He is the one who has done the real work. And then he says, I'm going to share with you my authority, my courage, my trust in the Father. I'm going to share everything with you. Now abide and stay with me and stay in me. And I want to say that we are in a season of triumph. 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 We're here to gather up what Jesus has already bought with his blood. We're not here to try to win a victory. We're in triumph. We're here to gather up that which he has already secured. So do not let your hands droop at your side. Do not go into human tenacity. Get in the Spirit and begin to walk in your God-given assignment, and all of the provision of heaven will be unleashed towards you to accomplish that. Okay? So I look forward to doing more lives here on Instagram, on IG, and love this format, love this platform. And I'm not quite sure how it all works yet, so I'm hoping, of course, that there are going to be more people on. But if this can be shared, if you can pass this on, then would you please do that? Would you share it if you think it has any ability to encourage people, to open them up to truth, to get them to connect with me? But this is get this word out. If you haven't been with me on my Move On Monday today, then I encourage you to do it. The mojo. You got to see. You got your mojo on. We've got a fresh episode dropped on the Tent Talk podcast on iTunes and wherever you get your podcast on enduring the contradictions that we are living in right now. It's a very real-time, right now word. All of that can be accessed, my YouTube channel, all of that can be accessed at nancymccready.com. You'll see all the icons there. You can click, 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 and get to whatever it is that you think could encourage you, give you encouragement and focus to be able to take the next steps in your life. My friend, we don't need to just be excited temporarily, okay? Excitement evaporates. We need to be trained, prepared, and ready to live the life that God has called us to. God has made all provision. But now, will we get inside that gym? Will we get into that training center? Will we get into that work it out gymnasium? Will we allow God to truly get us ready? We cannot be those fainting in mind, fainting in body. We are those that are enduring the contradictions. All right? So, thank you to those of you that have been on here today. And I do pray that this encourages you and that you will share it. I love you all, and I will see you soon. Bye.